Jesse Kelly Show. Let's have some fun. On a Tuesday, a wonderful Tuesday. We've got a heavyweight boxer on tonight. My buddy Ed Lattimore is going to join us. Maybe he'll tell us how to kill people with our bare hands. We're going to discuss the lowest of the low. Communists actually created an AI model of a dead kid to push gun control. We'll talk about that. Why are they raising such an amazing fuss over some redistricting in Texas? We'll talk about that. Putin is doubting Trump's potency to end the war. Media bias, Tulsi Gabbard, Russia hoax stuff, building a nuclear reactor on the moon, all that, emails, so much more coming up on the world famous Jesse Kelly Show tonight. Now, I got an email. It's a good one to discuss. It's stuff we've touched on before, but it's a good one to discuss. Oracle, can you please explain the communist endgame plan to this idea of leaving Texas to stall the vote? All right, so just 30-second recap. Texas is redoing its congressional lines. It's called redistricting. They are taking away the gerrymandering that has been done. And as a result, Democrats are probably going to lose 5 seats in the United States House of Representatives. Those are Texas seats. They were blue. They're going to go red. So this is one of those things I'm not going to... People talk over people's heads with this stuff, and I hate it so much. What? They don't have a quorum. No one knows what these words mean. The Texas Democrats had to be there to vote for all this stuff. They are required by law to be there to vote for all this stuff. Instead, they hopped on a plane, paid for by somebody, and they flew to Illinois to hide out like it's a non-extradition country. And on top of that, they've been raising an unbelievable fit over the whole thing. And people who aren't even really involved. Kathy Hochul is the governor of New York. She's going to war.
The direction of Donald Trump to literally hijack 5 Democratic seats in Texas.
Not just hijack, literally hijack.
Represented particularly my minority communities. They're going to lose their voice. And the effect of that on New York, why I'm involved with this, if they stack it so it's almost impossible for Hakeem Jeffries to be speaker in any time in the near future, or certainly during the Trump administration, then I have to deal with the onslaught of attacks on my residents, the loss of health care for millions, children starving because they don't have the SNAP benefits, and seeing the ICE raids with unfettered power walking into our courthouses and our buildings and our schools wearing masks and blaring guns. There's no way to stop this if we don't find a way to have some checks and balance in Washington, because we do not have it now. And if we don't stand up and fight, we'll not have it for the entirety of Donald Trump's tenure. And that is what is so frightening to me. You know what? I'm a New Yorker. I'm from Buffalo. Fighting is second nature to us. I'm not afraid of this. That's why I said bring it on, because Texas, bullies in Texas, are not going to intimidate us now or ever.
We're going to war. Seems a little over the top. Got our resident theater kid, Jasmine Crockett, stepping up to the microphone. We're going to knock y'all out, girl.
And I'm sorry, but instead, we are not only going to punch you back, but we are going to knock you out. So I fully...
Why are they putting up such a fuss? They've done this kind of thing before. Credit to Jewish producer Chris for this one. Remember when they fled a state before? I think it was Texas, wasn't it, Chris? Yeah, they fled Texas before. And then they got together and sang, "We shall overcome."
Overcome. We will overcome. We will overcome. Deep in our heart.
I can't, Chris. Stop. Turn it off. Turn it off. What's going on? Okay, so there are a couple different things at play on why they always do this. This is not about Texas or redistricting. They always do this. First, this is a tactic. It is a tactic that human beings will use. Human beings, especially when faced with a lack of power, a threat on them of some kind, something they dislike, human beings will cause a fuss. I have used the example before. It's the most appropriate example in the world, so I'm going to come back to it again. Have you ever been in public, maybe at a restaurant, and some dude is sitting there and his girl starts to lose her mind loudly? I can't believe you were talking to Tina. Raising her voice. Everyone's starting to look. He's sitting there visibly uncomfortable, trying everything in his power to what? To get her to calm down and quiet down because he's embarrassed. She's causing a fuss. Look, children do this. The resident toddler who throws a fit in the grocery store because mom won't throw the Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries in there. It's a tactic to embarrass the other side and get them, even if they disagree with you, even if they oppose you, you raise such a fuss. You turn the outrage, the drama meter up to 10,000. It's trying to get the other side to back away because they just want it to stop. Listen to these people. This is Yolanda Jones. Listen to this.
And then integration happened and everybody thought they accept us. They don't accept us. They are showing us who they are. We should believe them. And we better have the courage to stand up. Otherwise, we will fall for anything. And in this country, we will be defeated, deported. We will lose all of our rights. And if you think it can't happen, it can. And I will liken this to the Holocaust. People are like, well, how did the Holocaust happen? How is somebody in the...
Excuse me? We're going to be deported? She's an American citizen. We're going to be deported? This is just like the Holocaust. I don't think it is. Why is everything a drama over the top? It's a tactic. The theater kid communists have learned over the years a tactic that has been effective. Keep in mind, they don't use these tactics just so they can be dunked on by me and you and everyone else with any sense at all. They have used these tactics to great effect in the past. Everything is the end of the world. It's fighting the Nazis. It's the Holocaust. Millions of people will die. It is a tactic, and it's a tactic they come back to because the low T GOP never, ever, ever follows through when they break the law. Ever. And they know it. Jasmine Crockett talked about it.
No one came to get me last time. In fact, it is a cute little warrant that has a cute little frame on it. And so they like to talk a big game, but the reality is that, number one, you have a lot of intelligence.
No one came to get me last time. I got it in a wooden frame. I can act like the biggest piece of trash in the world and break every law. And I know the GOP will have to try to do things the right way. It's a tactic that has worked on the right for years and years and years and years. And that's one of the main reasons they keep doing these things. So one, I told you there were a couple things at play here. One, it's a tactic. Two, they are dead serious about the fear they have for themselves. They are freaking out. Remember our rule. You always come back to this rule. That's why we talked about it. Whenever Democrats are telling you that people will die, that is always, always, always to be translated as our power will decrease. They are never worried about people dying. These are all soulless demons. None of these people care about anyone dying. They very much care about their power. They want to remain in office. They will say people will die, no matter what it is. If it hurts them, if it hurts the revolution, the selling point will be people will die. People will die. Millions will die. People will die. People are going to die. Whenever you hear a Democrat saying that, what they're really saying is my power will decrease. If the GOP starts to really get into the gerrymandering game, if we start to fight back, go look at a congressional map of Illinois. It's honestly, if it wasn't so sad, it would be hilarious. This is what they do. They draw these districts so they can have congressional seats they shouldn't actually have. That has artificially propped up the Democrat Party. The GOP majority in the House should not be slim. Probably should be 10 to 20 seats. A 10 to 20 seat probably majority. But instead it's very slim. We can't pass any good laws because of gerrymandering. if we actually start developing teeth and taking that away from them, well, the revolution is going to be severely hampered, and they know it. We'll finish up this talk here in just a moment. It is the Jesse Kelly Show on a wonderful Tuesday. Remember, you need to email the show your love, your hate, your death threats. We'll get to a bunch of those tonight. Jesse@jessekellyshow.com. So I said, people were talking about the Democrats throwing this big hissy fit about some redistricting, and they're comparing it to the Holocaust, and Kathy Hochul's saying this is war, and this over-the-top response that there are a few different reasons why they always do this. Always cause a big scene, always act like it's the Holocaust. People will die. It's the end of the world. First, as I mentioned, it's a tactic. Cause a fit to try to get your way, just like a toddler in the grocery store. It's a tactic. Don't ever forget that. Another thing is, when they are threatened, when they have their power threatened, they will use the most dramatic, insane language they can. It's never real, and it's never honest, but they will say millions will die. The second you hear a Democrat saying millions will die, you know their power is being threatened in a significant way. And finally, the third reason. Democrats understand their base very well. They understand their base, and honestly, unlike establishment Republicans, Democrats really, they like their base. And they do the best they can to appeal to their base. And it is their understanding of their base that gives them this. They have the power with their dramatic language to turn the base's anger up to 1,000 and get them to act. Get them to act. Here's the best way I can describe it. If let's say I own a junkyard. You know, junkyards are still a thing. I own a junkyard, and I have a dog, big, mean dog. And I understand, because I've had some break-ins, that there's a good chance I'm going to have a break-in tonight. I want my dog to not only be awake and alert, I want him to be fired up and angry and ready to bite people. So I don't feed him dinner. You know, dogs love to eat. They like to have a nice big meal. Fred does this all the time. Has a nice big meal and then just goes and plops down and racks out. My dog, my junkyard dog, man, he gets awfully short-tempered when I don't feed him. So I don't feed him breakfast. I don't feed him lunch. I don't feed him dinner. I now have a very agitated, very angry dog on my hands, and I don't know exactly what he'll do or when he'll do it. I don't even know if I'll have a break-in tonight. But I know if some robber does come sauntering into my junkyard, ready to steal some copper wire from somewhere, I have a dog that is primed and ready to go take care of that problem. Elected Democrats understand there are legions of mentally ill demons that make up the Democrat base. And so they understand when they go to the news, when they do shows, and when they use terms like Holocaust.
And then integration happened, and everybody thought they accept us. They don't accept us. They are showing us who they are. We should believe them, and we better have the courage to stand up. Otherwise, we will fall for anything. And in this country, we will be defeated, deported. I mean, we will lose all of our rights. And if you think it can't happen, it can. And I will liken this to the Holocaust. People are like, well, how did the Holocaust happen?
You roll your eyes, you scoff at that. That's ridiculous. No one's deporting her. She's an American citizen, and it's nothing to do with the massacre of 8 million Jews. What are you talking about? How could you even make the comparison? That is a woman who understands that mentally ill demons make up her base. They vote for her, they listen to her, and she understands that if she puts that out there long enough, She may not know when and where the action will take place, but she knows she has called for action and action will be delivered. Just take a step back for a moment and remember all of the left-wing street violence that has taken place in this country over the last 10 to 15 years, just what you know about it. And that's with the American media covering up every single bit of it they can. They have bent over backwards to cover it up, to lie about it, but they can't even cover up the attempted massacre of congressmen, the attempted assassination of Brett Kavanaugh, Trump supporters shot in the head in Portland, killed. They can't begin to cover up all of it, and that's just what you know. And you know just the tip of the iceberg. There's been a lot, hasn't there? Why is it so much? Why did they have legions of people firebombing abortion clinics? Just legions of people committing acts of violence. Why is it the most common thing in the world to tune into social media in left-wing circles to find out their latest target and to see them say things like, someone should post his address? Why? Why? Because they're mentally ill demons, and because Democrat politicians know if they crank the outrage, crank the hysteria up to 1,000, they will get action. And there's a benefit in that, just like the junkyard dog. There's a benefit in your opponents having a level of fear for what you or yours might do to them. I've long said it, and I meant it. That whole the Clintons have killed a bunch of people. You know that thing that's been going around forever. Maybe some's true, maybe some's not. I don't know. But you know who loves that? The Clintons. They've heard it. You think they don't enjoy that thought in the back of people's heads that, hey, you cross me, I'll kill you? They love that. That's power. All right, let's move on. We got to talk about, journalists next. It is the Jesse Kelly Show on a fantastic, fantastic Tuesday. I'm so excited. We're talking to Ed Lattimore an hour from now. Freaking heavyweight boxer. He punches people out for a living. I want to talk. I think that's interesting, and I want to talk to Ed about that. And we are going to do a bunch of emails tonight. I promise I am going to get to a bunch of those. I've been negligent there, but I wanted to do this because Terry Moran. You remember Terry Moran? Maybe not. He was that reporter with ABC News. He sat down with Donald Trump in the Oval Office, interviewed him, and Donald Trump just basically stuffed him in a body bag. It was brutal. It was brutal how bad Trump abused him, and Terry Moran deserved every bit of it. It was wonderful to listen to. We played it at length on the show. Terry Moran, I am sure, had an extra glass of courage. Sure, he got into the tequila or something that night, and decides to post some long, scathing thing about Stephen Miller, Donald Trump's White House deputy chief of staff, called him a world-class hater. Honestly, it wasn't just that it was unprofessional. It sounded like it came from an angry lib college girl. It just blasts him. And he deleted it very, very quickly. I'm sure the second he hit post, he started getting phone calls because it doesn't look good for the ABC News reporter to sound like a deranged lib college girl. Okay, so he gets canned. They said they just didn't renew his contract, but he got canned. Everyone knows what the deal is. He got canned. He was doing an interview. He's doing a bunch of this stuff now, just doing podcast stuff. But he admitted the bias. But his reason is fascinating. Now, before we get to his reason, I want to just remind you, what are the three things? All the evil people who run the Western institutions, what are the three things they have in common? No love of country. No love of country. Oftentimes they hate it, but they never love it. They just don't feel anything for it. Number two is what? No connection to the real world. They don't live your life. They've never lived in the places you've lived. They come up with a totally different upbringing, almost always extremely privileged upbringing, and then right into the newsrooms or into an internship at the Senate or something like that. So they've never They've never lived in the real world, stressing about bills, that kind of thing. And 3, they view themselves as kings and queens. But let's focus on 2, no connection to the real world. Here's just a few quotes from Terry Moran about the news. Were we biased? Yes. Almost inadvertently, I'd say. AB News has the same problem so many leading cultural institutions do in America: a lack of viewpoint diversity. It's no secret there are hardly any people who supported Donald Trump at ABC News or the other corporate legacy media news networks, and this is bound to impact coverage, not so much out of malevolent bias, but more out of a kind of deafness. The old news divisions don't hear many of the voices of the country because those voices aren't in the newsrooms. This is something we have talked about extensively on the show, and it's something I am extremely passionate about, not just for the media, but for our entire federal government. It's not just that I want the federal government reduced in size, massively reduced in size, with federal agency after federal agency eliminated. The agencies that still exist should be broken up and scattered across the United States of America. Scattered. And by the way, I don't mean send them all to New York and LA. No. Big cities, sure. Small towns, too. Rural, urban, scattered. And for anybody listening, anybody, whether you are in the media, maybe someone from ABC News is listening, probably are. Whether you are a company, maybe you're a national company, maybe you sell jeans, maybe you sell cars, maybe you, whatever. If you have one headquarters and it's in some deep blue commie dump part of America, you will miss a gigantic chunk of your customer base, and you will constantly twist in the wind and never, ever, ever know why. These people, this has plagued our government because, by the way, this isn't just ABC News. It's the FBI. Exact same thing. IRS, same thing. Senator's office, same thing. It's not that people who have a different background than you or me, it's not that they're bad. You know, I grew up in a construction family. You're not a bad person if you've never worked construction. But if you've never worked construction, you also don't fully understand someone who does. How could you? It's not your fault, but you should realize that. What happens is these people, they almost every journalist comes from a rich family, rich or upper class family, because it's not a field where you can expect to make a lot of money. Very few do. So the only people who go into it are people who don't need money. Well, dad's got me, that kind of a thinking. So it's a rich field. So you grew up comfortable. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. You grew up very comfortable, no stress. You didn't have to worry about where your next meal was coming from. Nice cars, nice houses. You went right from there to the most bubbled part of any society, the university system. Oftentimes they're in small, safe towns, manicured lawns. You don't really have responsibilities outside of studying. It's not the real world at all. College is. You emerge from there right into the media or right into academia or right into a congressional office, something like that. So what do you know? What do you know about the guy listening to me right now who's delivering on Uber Eats? What do you know? He got done with his day gig. Now, in order to try to make ends meet, he's currently listening to the sound of my voice in his Toyota Prius, delivering pizzas and Chinese food all over town. What do you know about him? We don't know anything. But because you've never lived like him, you look down on him. And that's how the American media has treated the right for ages, as they have become more and more siloed into these deep blue communist dumps. What they've done is they've separated completely. Remember what Selena Zito said last night about Pennsylvania? They've just completely abandoned it. They don't understand it at all. They've separated completely from normal Americans, from middle America. And because of that separation, now they look down their noses at everybody and everyone can feel it. Everyone can hear it. Everybody knows it. And I've used the example before of a big ball of Play-Doh and the elites of this country, the media, all include that in there, slowly but surely pulling like a big ball, a big chunk of it away from the larger ball. And they think the larger ball is going to come with them because they have so much power and influence, but it's not. What's happening is that string attaching the elites to the rest of us, it's stretching and it's getting weaker. And then they keep doubling down and tripling down on all the horrible things they do. And it's stretching more and it's getting weaker and it's stretching more and it's getting weaker. And if they don't change their ways, and there's no indication they're going to change their ways. If they don't change their ways, it will break. And that's really, really bad. And I'm worried we're already there. But if nobody goes to jail for this Russia hoax stuff, we will definitely be there. This is in a lot of ways the last chance of the elites to send one of their own to prison. It's a bigger deal than a lot of people, I think, realize. Let's do some emails. It is the Jesse Kelly Show on a fantastic Tuesday. Remember, you can email the show, jesse@jessekellyshow.com. So this guy has an email. It's long and it's angry about the Delia Ramirez. We talked about her yesterday. She was the congresswoman who went down to Mexico City, and she announced on camera behind the microphone, "I'm a Guatemalan before I'm an American." Guy is upset about it. Many of you have written emails very, very upset about it. And I thought it would be beneficial actually to read a little bit of her response, because she caught all kinds of heat, as you can imagine, for what she said. And so she put out a very, very long response. I'm not going to read all of it. It's too boring. But I'll tell you what, I'll get to this one. All right. So this is how the last sentence of her response starts. Quote, "Anyone who denies our claim on this country." Let me read that for you again. I didn't write this. These are her words. "Anyone who denies our claim on this country." Okay. Let me ask you something. Did you have to pay for your first car? I did. Technically, my first car was a International Scout 2. Then I scratched my dad's truck, and he made me sell it to pay for the damages. But after that, I had to work and work and work and work and work. And I bought a 1983 Honda Accord for $600. Had 200,000 plus miles on it. When you drove it, you could see the road. There were so many holes in the floorboards underneath the car, you could look down and see the pavement or see the snow. Things falling off of it everywhere. And I loved that car. Loved it. Drove it all over Montana working construction. Even had a nickname for it. It was called the Ghetto Bird. Don't ask me. One of my buddies called it that, but that's what it was called, the Ghetto Bird. The Ghetto Bird was my boy. I loved that car so much that the day I sold it, and I had to put an ad in the paper, someone shows up. I think they bought it for $300 or $400. I came as close as I could get to a material thing to getting choked up the day I handed him the keys. That's how much that car meant to me. Why? It's a crappy car. Why? Because I earned it. I busted my butt. Minimum wage jobs. Every chance I could get hours, I was getting hours and socking my money away and socking my money away and socking my money away. And finally, I had enough for my car that I earned. Now, let me ask you, have you ever known somebody, some teenager, right when he or she gets his license, Mom, Dad roll out a brand new Ford Mustang or something for them? How well do they take care of that car? You know the answer. The car is usually wrecked within a week. Speeding tickets, garbage all over it. Why? It's so nice. It was given to them. It was given to them, so it doesn't mean as much. See? In the United States of America, this happened decades ago. We became infected with this thinking that America itself is stolen, evil. The people who live here really are lucky. They don't deserve anything. And that everyone from around the world should just be able to come here. If you're in a bad situation of any kind, maybe your country's war-torn, maybe you're just poor, maybe you're just looking for a better job, but anyone who wants to come here should be able to come here. And we have put into place policies for decades and decades that encourage that. And because we have just handed out the United States of America instead of valuing it, instead of it being precious to us like the wonderful country it is, we just hand out residency here. We just hand out citizenship here like it's nothing, like it doesn't mean anything at all. But that has not bred some attitude of gratitude for the people who left the dumps they came from and came here. Instead, it's bred contempt. Instead, now they see themselves as conquerors of a new land. Our claim to this land? You wretched hag. Get on a plane and go back to Guatemala. That's your land. You don't belong in my land. Just because you try to steal citizenship here because your parents came across the border and your mom crapped you out in the city of Chicago and you got citizenship through backdoor commie policies. Don't think for a second we share a country. You're a guest here. And they all say it. Ilhan Omar got up and said, "Oh, you got to play it, Chris. Go ahead."
This president introduced the Muslim ban, knowing that the country I came from, the country I came from.
My country. She doesn't. That is a human being. Ilhan Omar was plucked from maybe the worst country on the planet. Somalia is a horrible place. They starve, warlords, women are abused in terrible ways. She was plucked out of that country and handed the United States of America, and she's not grateful, not even a little bit. All it bred was contempt because just like the new Ford Mustang, it was handed to her, she didn't earn a thing, and now she despises it and wants to tear it down. Views this country as a place to be looted so she can hand it over to the dump of a country where she left. I'm so sick of the freaking foreigners who act like that in this country. Start stripping these people of their citizenship and send them back home. Send them all back. I'm tired of that attitude in this country. It drives me up the freaking wall. And I'm tired. Just remember, as long as we're on this, that low-T Republicans like James Lankford of Oklahoma tried to amnesty all these people and keep them all here. Bunch of disloyal scumbags. And I hate it when Republicans talk about, well, legal immigration's really hard. We need a bigger gate. No, we don't. It should be hard. We're the greatest country in the world. It should be very difficult to get your citizenship here. And have you ever talked to somebody who earned it? Not one of these anchor babies. Someone who earned it? How patriotic are they? Extremely, because they earned it. Just like my Honda Accord. They freaking earned it. And now they love it. That's how it should be done.